Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to Hello Podcast with me, Angelina, and I have one of my favorite women here, Jennifer Aydin, my girl. I know Jennifer for a long time, and I literally just bonded with you. I think we met
at the VMAs.
Did we?
In person at the VMAs. You were so nice.
No, it was a fashion show.
No, it was Jingle Ball.
No, it was I swear to God, we met each other at a fashion show. Because don't you remember? This is when you were new on the. And you were saying like the funny line you always say in the beginning, and I was dying laughing. Do you remember? It was like,
I know what I say. I always make people
it was
laugh,
in the
but I don't
city.
remember.
It was in the city.
I do remember. I thought it was at Jingle Ball. I thought we were like going.
I think we were there
through.
together too.
Yeah, I saw you at Jingle Ball. We
yeah.
were like in backstage going past, and like I think somebody was going to be interviewed by Elvis Duran. It may have been me. I don't remember.
It was probably you.
But we were definitely like passing by.
Yep.
And
I remember that one too.
I remember thinking like I thought you looked so much like Kim Kardashian.
Really?
Like, yeah.
Oh, that's a compliment. Because
I think it's a compliment. I think she's gorgeous. Yeah, she's hot. Yeah, I remember thinking that. Yeah.
I wish, but thank you.
Yes.
I mean, I call myself the Kim Kardashian of Staten Island, but
that's so funny.
that's what I named myself years ago as a joke, but it's stuck, I guess.
I mean, it's stuck. I thought so. And then we exchanged numbers.
Yes,
so
we
you were
did.
so nice. I feel like I was nice too. I'm
You
always
were so nice to me. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of people have this like misconception of us, like reality stars. Plus, you know, you're not just that. You're everything. You're a mom, entrepreneur, businesswoman, right? You have your own podcast. And I feel like a lot of people like think that just because we're on a reality TV show, and that's part of our lives, that we're like stuck up or we're like, you know, mean girls or something. It's not always like that.
I like to explain it like this. You seeing us on the show is basically a screenshot of a much bigger picture.
Exactly. That's
and
a good way to.
And there's so much more than meets the eye. But if you want to take that to the bank, no problem.
Yep.
That's why I like firsthand experiences. Like I met you and then we bonded and like we just met a whole bunch of people here.
Yeah, isn't that so funny? Everyone's here.
Everyone's here.
I walk in, I'm like,
and you know, I just feel like you catch more bees with honey in life.
It's true, but like if sometimes I feel like obviously say we're eating, right? Or we're out somewhere, like you're with your family, you don't always want to like, if you're like in between mid-bite and then somebody comes over to you and says, hey, can I take a picture? It's like, all right, there's a time and place. You have to be nice to all the fans, but like sometimes I feel like, all right.
Like I don't mind it. The only time I've ever been annoyed, I think I've only been annoyed at somebody once in my life. I will stop traffic to give you a picture. I'm in the parking lot picking up my son and kids will walk by and they'll be like, Jennifer, and I don't know if they know me because I'm Jacob's mom or if they're really a fan.
Probably
so
both.
If they say they're a fan, they're like, oh, I'm a huge fan. I'll say like, you want a picture? And then they're like so relieved that I said that because I took like the
they didn't
fear
have to
away
ask.
from them.
Yeah.
The only time I ever got mad was I was at the Jersey Shore at Funtown Beach. That's my beach, the Jersey Shore. I have a condo. I was just telling you before we started filming. I have a condo. And I was sleeping on the beach.
Oh.
Sleeping. Like I'm sleeping.
That's different. Yeah, that's a lot.
And I'm in the sun and I'm getting my tan on.
Yeah.
And then I feel a big shadow and it was like one of the guys who worked there. He doesn't work there anymore, but and he's really nice. But he was like, hey, Jen, like, can you take a picture with this guy?
So
and
loud.
I kind of was working on my tan.
Did you get startled? Were you like, what the hell?
I just was so shocked. I was like, dude, I would never go up to someone. Like,
weird.
you talk about going to someone eating. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
But somebody sleeping?
Yeah,
like,
that's crazy.
Dude,
that's on a whole other level.
That's a whole other level.
I've never had that happen.
But I was nice, you know. Because, you know, they will walk away and they will tell everybody and anybody their encounter with you. And to me, that's so important.
It is.
So I'm like, you know what? It's just 2 minutes of my life. I'll make them happy, but they'll remember it forever. And
that's
for
true.
me, that's so important.
It is.
And the thing is, like, even when I was little, like, I always wanted to be an actress. It didn't pan out.
Did you?
I did.
Did you try out? Like,
I did. I actually went for a commercial. I begged my mother to take me on an audition for a commercial.
How old
I was about 15.
Oh.
I was a babysitter, and I was a babysitter to this company no longer in business called Chickies Kids. It was like a talent or modeling agency, and I babysat for one of the workers' daughters, and she sent me out on an audition. And I begged my mother to take me, and she's like, took me just to shut me up.
That's cute though.
Then I got a call back.
No.
And when I got a call back, she
That's
was so nervous, and she was like, if you become an actress, no one will ever marry you.
You're Turkish, right?
Yeah, I'm
so
Middle Eastern,
my best
Turkish.
friend growing up is Turkish. I'll tell you about that later.
So I'm from Turkey, but we're Syrian Orthodox, which
Okay.
is like basically a culture within the Turkish community. And a lot of the people from our community migrated here in the 70s. So in Jersey, we have a really big community. We have 3 churches.
Wow.
We're very spiritual. It's a Christian faith. It's like Greek Orthodox, I tell people. Like Syrian Orthodox, it's Greek Orthodox. It is a Christian faith. And getting married was like the goal, having a good husband and raising a family. And that was all my mother's goal was the minute I turned of age. She was trying to marry me off. So she's like, if you go become an actress and you actually, she was afraid I was going to make it. And I know I would have made it. But at the time, I didn't want it bad enough because growing up in this culture, I did want a family and I did want a husband and I didn't want to, I got what my mom was saying. Not that I agree with it, but when you're an actress or you're in the public eye, relationships don't always stick.
So hard in that,
There's so much temptation all the time. I mean, you pretend to fool around with someone and then it turns real.
It's all over the press, and back then it kind of wasn't.
I get it. Now it is. So when my mother said that, she really said, "You'll be a whore and no one will ever marry you."
It's so funny. She said it in a better way.
She scared me, dude. No, she didn't say it in a better way. She said it just like that.
Really?
Just like that.
Well, moms could be moms, Moms are blunt.
And she scared the crap out of me. She really did. And I wanted a family, and I loved the traditional aspect of it. So I said, you know what? Instead, I'm going to get married and have kids, and I'm going to encourage my kids to follow whatever their dreams or their passions are. So when Housewives came to me, it was almost like a gift. It was like, wait, I get to be myself. I don't have to fool around with nobody.
Years later, after you were 15, obviously,
right. So it's like I feel very blessed that I got to get married, have 5 kids,
then do it,
have all my kids be grown, and then live out my dream career. Which at the end of the day, I know now that I don't necessarily think I would have been such a great actress as I am a good entertainer. So I like to entertain people. I like to make people laugh. I got the gift
you are
of
funny.
gab.
You're like me. We're very blunt and funny.
Blunt, funny. I try to make light of things. I try to live in positivity and transparency, So I feel like there's power in that. So I feel really lucky to be able to be somewhat of an entertainer.
And we're very fiery, me and you. Like what comes out of our mouths is like, oops, but that's what I really meant, We're very, we're just who we are. I think we just
say the first things that come out of our head. And I think I'm actually trying to work on that because
in
this industry,
I am
in this industry, it's not always received well and sometimes taken out of context.
Most of the time.
Most of the time.
Almost always.
So I look for opportunities like this where we can have a conversation, even
be yourself.
Being my own podcast.
That's it.
That's another reason why I wanted to do my own podcast. My fans were watching my stories. I was doing lives. I was interacting with my fans, and they were like, you need your own show.
It's crazy. Being on reality TV for so long for me, it's just the craziest, weirdest moments where I'm like, oh, did I just do that and it's going to air? It's like that actually makes the fans love you more because you're just being yourself.
I mean, my most popular scene is me getting totally drunk and being carried out of Teresa's backyard, which really, in the moment, I thought was one of my worst moments.
Yeah, probably.
But now in hindsight, I look back, I'm like, damn, that was TV gold. Because that was all real. And I don't really drink, which is the funny thing.
I think I watched that episode. Your husband was drunk too, right?
My husband carried me out. My husband carried me out, and my husband told me to calm down with all the shots because he said it's going to hit you. And because I'm not used to drinking, I don't really know my limits. I don't know what my tolerance is. I know my I'm very I'm cheap drunk. Okay. So I don't drink. I like to stay on point, but I'm also a team player. I don't want to be that girl that's like, no, I don't want, I'll take it. And sometimes baby it the whole night, it gets watered down and someone will be like, you need a new one? I'm like, no, I'm good.
Yeah, you're like, nah, I'm good.
It's a prop.
But you have fun.
I'm
that's what matters.
I say I'm naturally high on life, dude.
I mean, that's the best way to be. And now you have a beautiful family. And I feel like with you just said you wanted to get married and you did that.
I did that.
Now you have how many kids do
I
you
wanted
have?
to make my parents proud. I wanted to make myself proud. And at that time, that's what I grew up knowing. So that was the ultimate goal. My mom didn't encourage me to go to school. My dad wanted me to go to school. And I did go to college. And I finished college. I got a degree in business.
Nice.
I tried to do an internship after I graduated and just going to the city, hauling ass. And the thing is, when I was going to college, I was working for my dad in the jewelry store. So I was always the boss's daughter. After college, go out there in the real world and get a job. They treat you like crap. I was like a gopher and then hauling ass to the city and then it wasn't worth the money. And I was like, Daddy, can I just come and work for you?
He still does. Well, no, your brother does that.
So my brother
right?
took it over. Yeah, my brother takes it over. Now my brother freelances, but he's actually moving to Florida. He's moving to Florida next month. He's moving to Naples.
Oh, nice.
And he has a new store that he's opening there. It's just New Jersey's too expensive.
It is. Everything's going up here.
It's too expensive.
It's
and
crazy.
He's got a great store down there and they just got a great house. So I'm hoping that it's going to be a good transition for him.
I remember one of the episodes where I watched your brother was coming here with his wife and you got them you set them up nice with an apartment.
So he got the apartment, but I furnished it for them.
That's so nice.
You know, I furnished it for them. And this was like a 1-bedroom apartment, so it wasn't much. But like the little things help. Like people think I support my family financially. I do not. They're proud people. They wouldn't take it anyway.
Yeah.
But do I give nice, lavish gifts every once in a while? Sure.
You
like I should. When I see people that are of a certain stature and they don't do things to help their loved ones or their family, to me, I just look that's so like mind-boggling to me.
Yeah, that's weird.
I tell my siblings sometimes, you know, if God chose to give it to me out of all of us, he gave it for a reason because he knew I would help. Mm-hmm. And I do.
I look at it like that too. Like with me and my family, it's just crazy because a lot of people like that, like outside of family, right? But family comes first. So
family's always first. Yeah. And you got to like step up and do the right thing. And I think when you do the right thing, you know, that's your good karma. You know, God sees all. So I just keep trying to be good.
No, I think you're killing it.
I have like
how many? You have 5 kids, right?
Okay, yes, I have 5 kids.
You have 5 kids.
I have 5 kids.
Yeah,
3 boys, 2 girls. It's boy, girl, boy, boy, girl, and I had boy, girl, boy, boy, and I always wanted 2 boys, 2 girls because I'm from 2 boys and 2 girls. My husband's 2 boys and 2 girls. I'm like, we got to have 2 boys and 2 girls. So I had boy, girl, boy, boy, and then I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna just deal with 1 girl, and she'll be the princess. And it was funny because like we pray every night before we go to sleep. And before I had my house, I had 3 kids in one room. I had my boys in bunks and then Gabby in the separate bed. And we would always go around the room and say what we were thankful for, what we were grateful for. And at the end, we could always say, what was our wish? What do we pray for? And, you know, Justin would be like, I want to meet the Power Rangers.
So cute. Power Rangers.
And like Jacob would be like, I want to go to Disney World. And Gabby would say, I want a little sister.
Aw, yeah.
And then I was like, oh my God. So I had another baby and it was a boy. And that's when I was like, you know what? That's my daughter will just be the princess. And when I came home with Christian, Gabby went under the table. She was, I think, 4 years old. I've had my 4th kid and she's like 4 or 5 years old. So she goes under the table and she starts hiding. She's like, you always bring home boys. You always bring home boys.
She's like, Mom, I wish it was going to be a girl this one last time.
I was like, you know what? I'm going to try for a girl for you. I'm going to try one more time. And I'm a big believer in manifestation. People were telling me, you had 3 boys. You'll probably have another boy. And I was like, you know what? Nobody ever regrets having another kids. Kids are blessings, boy or girl, as long as they're healthy. That's really all. I mean, nobody ever says like, you see that last kid I have? Shouldn't have done that. Nobody does that.
Yeah, no.
The people that I've talked to in life, if anything, they have regrets of not having one more. Because I will say when you're a mom and you're in the thick of it, in the heat of the moment, you just think there's no way I could do this for another one. But when once that time passes and you're looking back and they're older now and you've taken a break, you look back, you're like, you know, I could have. I could have and I should have and I didn't. So I regret it. So talking to a lot of moms had helped me. And I'm the type where like if you're going to have kids, have them back to back. I don't agree with that mentality, like have one, enjoy it, and then have another one.
Yeah, because then like they're not even around the same age anymore.
They're not around the same age. And you got to think practicality.
Your body.
Your body. You're in baby mode. You're waking. You're already sleepless nights.
Yep.
Okay, you're already in diaper mode. You're already packing
Might as well stay there.
Might as well stay there until you're really done. Because for me, I would never want to start over again. Like my brother has a baby and I see the baby and I love her so much, but I love giving her back.
Yeah, so but you have 5. So you were like, I already been there, done that. Like when you cut it off, you know?
So I'm really grateful that I knew well enough to just like be in the zone and have 5 kids. So they're all 2 years apart.
That's
12,
awesome.
14, 16, 18, and 20.
How did you plan? Like some people can't even get pregnant for years like that. You're blessed with that.
I'm very fertile. I'm very fertile.
Fertile Myrtle over here.
People ask me, do I have TV? It's really not like that. You know, I do have TV. I love TV. We watch a lot of it.
Yeah, why do people keep saying that? Because you don't have a TV on TV. Like
they just say like when I say I have 5 kids, like the joke is like, you don't have TV? I've gotten that.
obviously you
I've
have
gotten that.
TV.
You don't have TV?
This is so weird. But like you have beautiful,
what are you, rabbits?
Yeah. Well, you have 5 kids.
What
Who
else
cares?
have I
People
heard?
have 4 or 5.
All one man, one marriage. I'm like,
Yeah.
all yours. Any twins? These are. But listen, it's normal. I get it.
It's so normal with us.
It's not what you hear these days. Somebody having 5 kids. You don't hear it that much anymore.
Well, I'm one of 3. Well, actually, no, one of 1, 2, 3, 4 now because I found out I have another sister. So,
oh wow,
yeah,
that's
I mean, it's a different. So it's really one of 3, but plus I have another
still
sister.
Sibling.
Yeah, that's still a
that's
sibling.
One of 4.
So I'm, all girls, and I want to have children. I do want to. I'm getting older. It's been for somebody my age, like it's tough, like especially being in this for 15 years. Imagine being in this for that long. Like you said, when you were younger, you wanted to have the family and all that. I've been in this almost 16 years.
Yeah.
So like relationships, like we said before, oh, hell no with me.
I know. And if I
doesn't work.
I wouldn't say like everybody in this, like marriage is not for everybody, kids is not for everybody. But for me, if I had to give anybody advice, even if you don't ever want to get married, have a kid.
Yep.
Have just one. Have one.
I keep saying that I want to at least have one.
Just have one.
Yeah.
And be very cautious of who you have it with because you will be connected to that person.
That person
forever.
could ruin your whole life.
It could ruin everything. Oh my God. It's so important who you pick as your partner.
Correct.
I've seen women out there doing, artificial insemination to get kids. Like, you got to do what you got to do in this point. But having a kid, I feel, is so important.
I'm going to be 39, so I better hurry up.
Yeah, but women are still having kids in their 40s. I know it's not ideal, but with the technology out there, you can see if you're, predisposed to any kind of conditions.
I'm not. I'm good.
That's what I mean.
I did that already.
With the technology today, I feel like it's still, the door is not closed, baby.
I'm pretty fertile myrtle
Manifest.
too.
Manifest.
Yeah.
Picture yourself with your baby. Picture yourself a healthy little baby boy or girl, whatever it's meant to be. And I'll be your little buddy because even now I take care of my dad. So he lives with me.
He's so cute, your dad.
He's cute.
He is very cute.
He's cute. You know what? People see his Instagram and they say that
he has an Instagram?
No, like on my Instagram. Oh. You don't even know how to go on Instagram.
I was going to say
he doesn't know anything.
I was like, oh my God.
He doesn't even know how to look at his phone for a text.
He's just adorable.
He's a cutie. People say that he looks like the character from Up. Have you ever seen that movie Up? It was like a animated little old man who lost his wife, and he's so cute. And they sent me like a back and forth, like a side by side. I was like, oh my God,
he does
the guy from Up. But I take care of him now, and I just.
So he lives with you.
He lives with me, and he has a brother that never got married and never had any kids.
Oh.
And thank God my cousin has been great with looking after him. But it's like I feel so sad for him because it's like
I'll be lonely.
An uncle, you could go for your uncle, but like a parent, a biological kid, or your kid that you raise that is like as your kid, it's different.
Yeah, and plus you always got to think of. I always think like, especially recently as I'm getting older, it's like, all right, well, who's going to take care of me when I get older?
That's
right?
why you need to have that kid.
Yeah,
have just one.
I know.
Just one.
I know.
We're not asking you to have 5.
I'll probably wind up trying to have 2 though, because once I have one, I'll be
like
I
said, nobody ever regrets having a kid.
I know.
They're all a blessing, But listen, it takes work. I say, sometimes having babies for me was easy, but raising them is hard. Raising them takes hard. You got to be present, and you got to be there for them and give them things. And I just don't mean material things.
Love, everything.
Being there
attention.
for them. I have been to numerous parent-teacher conferences where the teachers tell me it makes a big difference when the mother is home the first few years of the child's life. It really does. It's their molding, it's baby steps, their personality is being molded. It's so important to be there if you can. Of course, in this day and age, it's so hard. You need 2-income families.
Yep.
So people are just trying to make it work.
With me, thank God I'm blessed, that I can be a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
Especially,
it's such a blessing.
Yeah.
It's such a blessing.
Do you
have your mom to help?
Well, I mean, she kind of, my sister had 2 babies, so she kind of, and then I'm like, I can't burden her with another kid. You know what I mean? Not burden, but like, my mom
By the time
always,
you have your kid, a grandchild to a grandparent is like gold to them.
It really is. Yeah, no, it is.
I would think my mom would be, like over having grandchildren, but my brother just had a baby a year ago, and my mom is just like enamored with her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was thinking about
because it'll be your baby.
Yeah, it's gonna be mine, and then it's different, right? It's different than somebody. Yeah,
it's different.
But like they have what is it called? Au pairs.
An au pair. I've done that twice.
Did you like it?
No, it didn't work out. So the good thing about an au pair, if it doesn't work out, they can be transferred to another family. But the thing is, for me, The au pair that came, they're inexperienced sometimes. They're young. They're like kids themselves. Like the au pair I had, we were actually filming. They cut her out. She was on her phone like the whole time. And the kids were swimming in the pool.
Yeah,
and
no.
I'm like, you have to watch the kids when they're in the pool.
Yeah, you have to set the rules.
Them, you know? And it's like, you know, they don't clean, or they're only supposed to clean
for like
kids'
the 5
rooms,
days or something, right?
And it's like the hours, so they're all not supposed to work more than 40 hours a week. It's like, dude, I'm working more than 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
If I'm doing it and you're here to help me,
what's the point of you then? We
should be doing it together.
Exactly.
You know, I don't want someone to do my job for me.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just a lot of kids. I'm outnumbered. And Bill works a lot. He works a lot.
That's why I was asking you if you had one, because that would have been great if like you had somebody that was.
So I didn't get I didn't get an au pair. I got a nanny. And I got a nanny.
What's the difference?
Nanny works when you say they work.
Okay.
You know, an au pair.
And they're older, obviously.
And it's any age.
Right?
An au pair is somebody comes from it's almost
another
like
country.
A student from another country. And there's a lot of rules that go along with it. You give them their salary, and they're definitely a lot more affordable than a nanny. I think at the time that I was doing it, it was around $350 to $400 range.
Yeah.
That doesn't include the initial fee, which is like a $10,000 upfront fee, but whatever. Everybody's different. But so it was affordable for me.
Yeah.
It's just that, you know, I don't need you. I actually didn't need anybody to watch my kids. For me, where I found the most help was someone doing household work, cooking and cleaning.
I
so
see.
I can be there for
so
my
you
kids.
could be. I see what you're saying.
I want to play with my kids. I'm a stay-at-home mom. So I would call my nanny, but she was really my housekeeper that helped me with like nanny-like duties.
So she'd be like,
so if I had one kid, I'd give her another. If I had 3 kids in the tub, which sometimes I would do, I would have her cook.
That's awesome.
You know, in the beginning, she didn't drive. The one I had, like I don't have one anymore now. I just have someone that comes and cleans my house. But when I had one and she was living with me, she didn't drive. So I drove the kids to school. I picked them up from school. I was doing the work.
Yeah.
She wasn't doing it. Even when I did tell her to do stuff for the kids, it was like, no, mommy, do it. Can you put our shoes on? I'm going to put this one. No, I want mommy to do it.
I want mom.
It doesn't matter who it is. Like you could have the best au pair, the best nanny. They always want mommy to do it.
Well, I mean, I'm finding this all
but
out from you.
You definitely need help. And when it comes time, I will help you. Au pair, they're only like 20-something hours a week, girl.
Really?
We need more hours than that.
Yeah, they were calling me, contacting me, like, you know, if you're ever ready, let us know. I'm like,
yeah, no, you need someone to work like with you.
Yeah.
So if you're working 9 to 5, you need that woman to be your right hand and be your 9 to 5.
Yeah, the only thing about like with me, I don't like really trust people very easily. So and like, you know, especially with a kid.
So advice for that. Trust is something that comes with time. You will never trust anybody right off the bat. And I remember constructive criticism I got when I did first get my nannies, like all the judgment, especially in my community. And they all had their moms to help. But my mom was out on Long Island. For her to come to Jersey to help, like, it was really cumbersome for her to do that. So when I would have the nanny, they would be with me. I never let the nanny alone with the child. And if I went anywhere, I would bring the nanny and the child with me until trust was established. And listen, we all have a good sixth sense. You get an intuition. Yeah. Spend a week with someone. You know how you say, like, get to know someone, you go away with them?
Yep.
Spend a week,
women will know too.
Spend 5 days with a woman, you'll know if this is someone like, oh, this is on my level.
100.
And then that trust, it'll be little in the beginning, and then when you work together, it builds.
It builds.
It builds. In fact, my neighbor at the time, who would tell me he was so against hiring babysitters, because him and his son would always play with my nanny and my kids in my backyard, his kid and him got used to my nanny and then would ask for my nanny to babysit.
You're like, no, I'm not sharing.
And he's like, I don't trust anybody else. I'm like, baby, you trusted them because you spent time with them. So I always give new moms advice about hiring babysitters.
Yeah.
The first few times, hire them to work with you in the house. Stop. Don't be cheap. Don't sit there and say, well, why should I pay her if I'm here? Stop with that. Let them work with you a few days so you could see how they interact with your kids, see if your kid is good with them. And you wean yourself out of the picture slowly.
I see.
And then by the time, because if you leave a stranger with your baby, they will cry. They will cry.
I was going to say that too. I was going to be like.
Never leave. So
yeah.
I'll say like, okay, you're going to come work with me for 4 hours like a mother's helper today. I wash dishes, I do laundry, I iron. And they're playing with the kid, and I'm watching them interact. And then they leave, and then now day 2, the baby's like, oh, I recognize this person. They were here yesterday. And little by little, and now your baby's smiling when that person comes. Then
Getting
you know
used
the
to them.
coast is clear. So that's how you have to do it. I always tell people when they first hire babysitters, you're going to have to do it a couple of times while you're home. And I find that most people just don't like that they have to spend money because they're home. Like this is the feedback that I would get at that time. I'm talking 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know how it is now. I don't know what the feedback would be now. So please don't take me to the bank.
It's not now.
But back then, people would just always be like, how do you find these babysitters? How do you trust them? How do I trust them? For like the first month, first month, I literally like hired them while I'm home. And I tell them, this is not going to be your typical babysitting job where I'm going out to dinner with my husband and you're home with the kids. No, I'm here and you're like a mother's helper. We're doing it together. If I'm going to go in the backyard, I'll swing one. You play with the other on the monkey bars. It's like a team effort.
Yeah, it's a team thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the trust comes.
That's like a great
thing. And now
thing.
you have a babysitter.
And then the nanny's basically this. Well, no, the nanny's the person that cooks and all that. I always wanted a nanny, honestly.
So I call them nanny because it's like I feel like more acceptable. But really, they were a housekeeper. She was a housekeeper, and when I would interview them, I would tell them. I remember I interviewed once, and she was like, "Oh, I don't clean and watch kids." That's what she said to me.
That's like the movie Mrs. Doubtfire. It's like I don't wash the dishes. I don't clean this. I looked
at her and
what do you do? What do you do then?
Right. I looked at her and I'm like, well, I clean and watch kids.
Yeah, so what do we need you for?
And if you're here to help me my job, then you need to do both.
Yeah.
So if you're not okay with doing both, that's totally okay. But as like a stay-at-home mom, I cook, I clean, I watch my kids. So for you to come here and say that you don't do that, well, then this is not the lane for you.
Yeah, that's definitely not going to be something.
Yeah.
But you have all those years and you, no matter what, you were always there. And that's good. I love that you were basically like a stay-at-home mom.
I was a stay-at-home mom.
Yeah.
I was literally a housewife. My first job wasn't until I got on Housewives.
Really?
That was my. I mean, I always worked with my dad in the jewelry store.
That's right.
And then my dad. I actually had my own jewelry store before I got married, but it was so dead and it made no money that once I got married, I was like, oh, I'm done with this.
How did you and Bill meet?
At his brother's wedding.
Oh, that's awesome.
So his brother's wedding, he got married in California. And they're diamond dealers, and we were retail. So we would always buy jewelry from them. My dad would always take me to the jewelry stores because he loved I have great taste in jewelry. I know jewelry. I could spot a winner, and I would always pick the merchandise for the store. And his family had a store, but I didn't know him. I knew his brother and his father because they were wholesalers. And I would go, we would go to their booth, and my father-in-law would be like, what are you studying, Jennifer? And I would always tell him how I'm like studying marketing. And he was like, it's good that you help your father. So he was impressed by me. So when my brother-in-law got married, they invited us because we're also the same culture. They're also Syrian Orthodox, they're Turkish. And my parents wanted me to go to that wedding because there was a guy who was like asking for me. So in our culture, that's what they do. They like ask for you, like they inquire about you. That's what's good about my culture. No matter what, you can get married.
I love that.
Whatever spectrum
I feel like all of them should be like
good
that.
looking, not good looking, fat, bald, bad teeth, whatever it is. If you don't care and you're okay with just getting married, we will find you someone.
So it's still the same way. Years later, like still set up marriage, right?
So now we have,
I love that.
We have like, we get introduced. So like we go to weddings and like, let's say I see a girl that I liked from my brother, which is what happened. I saw a girl my brother actually liked her, and she didn't want to move. So then it got word to me that she wanted to talk to him, and I introduced them, and they're talking as in for marriage. So we're not setting them up to get married, but we're setting them up as if you like each other, the premise is for you to get married.
I think every culture should be like that, honestly.
So we don't date to fuck around.
That's amazing. Because everybody else does.
You gotta buy the cow.
Not to be wrong. Like, you gotta buy the rude cow when I say that.
So when I like your culture. My mother wanted me to warm up to this guy who liked me, and he was nice. I didn't know him too well, and I went to the wedding in California. But when I went to the wedding, the best man was my husband, Bill. He was the best man.
Oh, wow.
And I remember seeing him, and I was like, oh my God, that's a hot one. Because, you're always looking for a hot one. I was looking for a hot one. My mom always used to say, what do you want? Club guy? That's what she used to say because I was always in the clubs.
Like, kind of, but not really.
That's what I said. I was like, I don't want a club guy, but I want a guy that I could take to the club and not be embarrassed.
And kind of looks like one, but it doesn't always act like one.
And I saw him, and I was like, tall, dark, handsome. I'm like, oh my God, like, who is that? And where do I sign up? But I was
Love
thinking
at first sight.
for me, I was smitten. I was like hit with the bow. And I was
Wow.
thinking the whole time. And it's ironic because the guy who liked me lived in California. And I kept telling my parents, you're wasting your time because I would never move to California. And then when I saw my husband, that was the best man, and I'm assuming that he lived in California, I'm like, you know what? California's not so bad.
You're like,
I could do Cali.
now I'll do it.
So fun fact, the next day after the wedding, the guy who liked me is blowing up my brother's phone saying like, I want to take you guys out. My brother's like, what do you want me to do? He's calling. I was like, I'm tired. I said, I don't want to go anywhere anyway. He's like, oh, are you sure? Because that guy Bill texted me too, and they're going to the Cheesecake Factory, and they invited us to go there. And I was like,
I kind of want to go now.
Well, that I'll do.
Yeah, that I'll do.
I mean, I love the Cheesecake Factory. Who doesn't love
Your brother's
the
probably
Cheesecake
like, what the
Factory?
hell?
My brother
What's going
knew.
on?
He knew.
Yeah.
Because when we were in the church and we saw Bill like assume his position, I remember my brother nudging me and saying, did you ever meet Bill, James's brother? And I was like, no, I don't think so. So my brother tells me this day, he's like, I knew that you liked him the way that you were looking at him. So when we were going to the Cheesecake Factory, we got lost, and I had to text him from my brother's phone, and I saw a 917 number. So I said,
like,
why?
New York, Jersey?
Why does he have a 917 number? My brother was like, Jen, he's a doctor at St. Vincent's in Manhattan.
You were like,
I was like,
damn,
yeah,
I hit the damn jackpot, baby.
Honey, yeah. I was like, oh,
Same nationality,
I was like,
same.
we got to reel this one in.
Yep.
And then we met Sunday before Labor Day, and we got married Sunday before Labor Day, 1 year to the day.
Wow.
And in my culture, like the man, because he's getting the girl, like the guy pays for the wedding.
Oh, that's awesome too.
Yeah, I know.
Usually it's the other way around again.
I know.
What goes on here?
It's so funny. It's like the guy, because
Can
the
we
guy's
all have
getting the
your
girl.
culture? Really?
The girls, they're getting the girl.
There you go.
And
it
I
should
had
be like that.
600 people at my wedding.
Wow.
It was at the Westmount Country Club.
The Westmount Country. Oh my God.
At the Westmount.
Wow.
And listen, my
Beautiful.
husband called all the shots at that time, and I was happy for him to do it. I was just like smitten. I was like, I want to do everything to make you happy.
Oh, that's nice.
You know? And it's been good ever since. We're going to be married 23 years this year.
Wow.
23
That's
years.
a lot. When did you guys have kids? Like right away?
I think it was a year and a half into our marriage before I got pregnant. But we wanted to have kids right away because you know what?
Yeah.
We were broke. He was a resident.
Yeah.
We didn't have any money. We can't travel. People are like, oh, I want to travel before I have kids. We didn't have money like that. So I was like, if I'm just stuck home anyway, I might as well start my family. And I think I wanted to be a young mom.
And then it was just like 1, 2,
And it was like
3,
ding,
bang,
ding,
bang.
ding, ding, and then ding.
Yeah, now look at you. I mean, that's a great story. I love it.
It's fun.
You know, whatever happened to the other guy? Did he get married? Obviously, he got married eventually because in your culture.
I think he definitely got married.
He was probably like,
Definitely
damn it,
got
I wanted her.
married. Listen, he was a nice guy and everything, but it wasn't my vibe. Like I said, I went to clubs. I'm first generation here. I grew up in my house. I'm Turkish, Syrian Orthodox. But then when I went out and I was in college, my friends were going to clubs. And I loved going to clubs because I had an older brother. Yeah. And he was a DJ.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
He DJ'd freestyle. And I was
Freestyle.
the only Guidette. I was the only Guidette in my high school because when I was a senior, the grunge style was in. Like Pearl Jam.
Yep.
All that was in.
Nirvana.
And I had big hair.
Nirvana and shit.
Yeah, no, I wasn't into Nirvana. No, I was like Debbie Deb, you know, when I hear music.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Well, yeah, freestyle is where it's
freestyle.
at. But I'm saying back then you said Pearl Jam or whatever. Like
I wasn't into that. I didn't know any of that. I mean, I knew of it, but I wasn't into it. So my brother being a DJ, I would always go to clubs with him. It was the only way I was
Brooklyn
allowed.
Clubs, like Brooklyn ones, probably?
Not Brooklyn, Long Island.
Long Island.
You know, I don't know if you know Bridgeview, Sprats
oh my God,
on Water,
I used to go
Sprats
there.
on Land,
Bridgeview Yacht Club. Zachary's.
Spit.
Oh my God. I don't remember
Uncle
that one.
Sam's, Metro 700, Coco's on a Monday night.
Did you go to
the whole club scene, I could tell you.
What
Club
is it called?
Blue, Club
Club Blue.
Dallingers. It was ladies' night on Wednesday night, Chelsea Street.
Glow?
What was Glow?
Glow is in Long Island.
Oh, Glow. It used to be Lux. Was it Lux before that?
Yeah, I think
that
so.
didn't really do that well. But like
When
every night
Glow,
there
when
was.
it was Glow, it did. But
Then I went to Hofstra University. There was Bogarts, the
remember,
bar.
I heard about that.
I wasn't a bar girl. I was a club girl.
I was never a bar girl.
I went to the clubs, honey. I got in for free. If I knew someone, they opened the rope for me. I got in right in. I knew everybody. I was a 5-cent millionaire. That's what my girlfriend called me. She called me a 5-cent millionaire. She's like, you go everywhere, you do everything, you never have any money.
And that's what us girls always did.
That's what we did.
That's what we did. I never had any money either when I was going. I was like, yeah, thanks. You can get me a drink.
Yeah.
What, like,
I would get all my friends drinks. They'd be like, we want a drink, but I never drank. But people would always offer to buy me drinks.
Yeah, guys were better back then too. Like,
so much better.
Guys are cheap nowadays. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be a dick, but like, they're just so, you're lucky that you're already taken.
I raise my children. I raise my kids. I tell my son, if you're ever with a woman, you don't let her pay. And he's like, Mom, they're just friends. We go everybody. I'm like, if it's just you and her.
It's the principle.
If it's just you and her.
Yep.
You pay.
I agree.
You be a gentleman. And I teach my kids that way because it's like, and this is not about not being a feminist or not being an alta. I'm definitely into women empowerment. But I do believe that we are also, like, we need to be taken care of, right? Women, we take care of everyone. We take care of the kids. We take care of our house. We take care of our parents.
When are we going to get taken care of?
We need to be taken care of.
Exactly. I so agree with that.
That's why I love Taylor Swift music, because all her music is about like love stories and fairy tales. And it's like, whatever happened to chivalry? It's
kind of dead at this point.
We need to bring it back, girl.
I don't know.
Let's bring it back.
I wish I could bring it back, honestly. I say that all the time. They don't hold the door for you anymore. Like, things have changed. I don't know. And since COVID, everything got worse, by the way.
I agree.
I think people just went nuts and literally just stayed in their houses and just were like, I'm going to be selfish now because I could live alone, or I could be alone because everyone was alone, right? Or like not with their friends or family or whatever.
It's funny. I had a girlfriend. She got married when we were like 21, 22 years old. She was dating this guy who was a bouncer at a club. They would break up on and off, one of those. I'm sure you know those things. We all lived it.
We've all,
And it was one of those where when they got back together, she was like, the only way I'll get back together is if we get married. So they get married.
Yeah.
And then we were out one night and like he's paying for drinks and he looks at her and he's like, well, where's your money? And she looked at him and she's like, in your pocket. Now get me the drink.
Every woman should take that and say that. Because
you can't say that no more.
You can't really, honestly, can't. Because everyone's like, well, you women wanted to like be, you women wanted to be in your jobs and you guys wanted to be like CEOs and all this other stuff. So now you get what you wanted. Like,
we do. And we do all want that. But we also don't want like the gentleman aspect to go away either. We are still female.
Exactly.
We are still these like, delicate female personalities.
Flowers.
We like flowers, we like hugs, we like affection. Like women, biologically, I feel like we're more nurturing.
We are, though.
We are. So like sometimes you need like a nice, strong man to take care of you. And
I always
think
say
there's
that.
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
You could still be a strong, powerful woman, but still love and love the idea of love and fairy tales and, just somebody opening the door for you. Can we get that?
Oh, yeah, that doesn't happen anymore. I am a freaking hopeless romantic, and I can't find, like, I'm not trying to be a dick. But
no, you got to manifest, honey. Don't be negative.
No, I'm trying to be positive, 100.
Yeah.
But, like,
he's out there.
No,
he's out there. There's got to be.
It takes a long time.
It does.
Especially with being in this position I'm in, a lot of, like, men are like, well, you have the money, so you're good. So it's like they want that damsel in distress. And like
the thing is, you could have money and still be taken care of. I could
know.
Still have money.
They don't look at it like
that. Swept off my feet. Mm-hmm. But I feel like you're Italian, right?
I'm Italian, and then I just found out I'm other things because I found out by taking a DNA test recently. Yeah, so
your ancestry, like that, ancestry.com.
I was actually like, wow, my dad is somebody else.
Well, that was a lot. If you get like an old school Italian that's like, from their country, I feel that people in other countries, the men in other countries are still a little bit more chivalrous than they are here.
That's what one of my friends said. She was like, I'm going to go to Dubai and I'm like, why? Why are you going to go over there? And she's like, because the guys are so cool over there. And they're like,
well, they're
awesome.
gentlemen.
Gentlemen, yep.
They're gentlemen.
Yep.
So they'll never let you pay. I don't know about Dubai, but I know Turkish men. They're gentlemen.
I have to go to Turkey. I want to go there so bad.
You should go to Turkey. Get a Turkish man.
I love Evil Eyes. Like all the jewelry you guys get over. How is it over there? Like, it's gorgeous,
safe,
right?
Girl, it's so safe.
See, they say it's not, but it is.
No, that's just propaganda.
Bullshit,
Listen, we're not getting into the politics. Istanbul is very modern.
I always wanted to go there.
It's very modern. It's a very gracious and hospitable country. They're very welcoming. Politics in every country gets messy.
Yeah.
You can't take that. People don't like our politics. Hello. Then they're going to stop coming to America because of our politics.
I know.
So it's just a moment in time, but the country is beautiful. It's the only country in the world that's on 2 continents. Did you know that?
That's right.
You take a bridge and you're in Europe. And now they have a tunnel.
Really?
Yes. And the service there is unbelievable.
The food is so good, I heard.
The food is great and it's clean.
And the coffee.
It is it's the coffee, and you could do your Turkish coffee cup reading.
Oh, that thing is so true, by the way.
If someone knows what they're doing, girl.
Honestly, I had my cup read and everything she said came. I'm like, there's no way. And and then a year later, I'm like, can I go back to her? Because my best friend is Turkish. Yeah. And she actually, she calls her aunt. She had me go to her, and she just keeps going to her. They're very close. They're like family.
Even the language in Turkey is very polite. When you go to, like, let's say a street fair, right, and you have a worker, there's a term in Turkish. It's called either abla or abi. Abla you say to an older sister. Abi you say to an older brother. And then, but when you come there, they'll say, like, you'll say, oh, how much is this? And they'll say, abla, it's this much. Mm-hmm. They talk to you in a familiar way where it's like, it's not like, there's no wall up there.
It's like inviting.
It's very inviting. It's like they speak to you like your family.
Like your family.
Their family.
And they don't even know you.
They deliver things to you. They just the service. It's like I went there and I'm like, I never want to go anywhere else.
I want to go. I've been saying this. Like my girlfriend's like, you have to go. Like how many hours is that flight?
It's a 9-hour flight one way and 11-hour another way.
It's not even that bad.
It's fine. Listen,
it's really
Turkish
not.
Airlines. I've never been on Emirates. But Turkish,
I want to go on that.
I want to go on that too, girl.
We're doing that together.
We'll get you that guy in Dubai.
Do you see the bar on that thing? I'm like, I'll be at that bar standing there.
I have to say, first class in Turkish Airlines, even regular class, they give you food. They bring it on a little trolley.
Really?
They look impeccable. They're just so nice. I mean, it's just so nice. Everything
it's so
about
different,
Turkey is
right?
so nice.
When was the last time you were there?
Last year. I went for the earthquake. I don't know if you know Turkey had an earthquake 2 years ago on February 6th.
I think
maybe
so.
You vaguely heard about it. It was like a destructive earthquake. It hit maybe 9-10 villages in the southern border of Turkey. And what happened was when the earthquake happened, because a lot of my fans know that I'm Turkish, especially the Turkish community, they were reaching out to me saying like, you're from Turkey, what are you going to do?
Oh.
And like, I didn't know what the heck to do. I really didn't, but I wanted to do something. So I had reached out to the mayor of Patterson, and I don't know if you know, like Patterson has the highest Turkish community population.
Oh, does it? I didn't know that.
There's one little area in Patterson, like yes, there's the Hispanic part, but there's one that's all Middle Eastern. You go and it's like Arabic writing, Turkish writing.
Oh, wow.
Turkish restaurants, Arabic restaurants, the bodegas that we all have, they're all there. So I reached out to him to ask, how can I do it in a way that is not going to be like a mistake? Because, you know, when you're in the public eye,
you have to watch everything.
If I promote a GoFundMe that's not legit, it can fall back on me.
Oh, yeah.
So I had to do it in a way that was legit. And I asked the mayor of Patterson. He was kind enough to connect me to people. And we raised a lot of money.
Oh, that's awesome.
And I work with it's called the Lemon Foundation. Now it's called the Lemon. We didn't have a name back then, but now it's the Lemon Foundation, where we basically we have 10 students a year, and we watch and monitor the duration of their education. Because listen, we don't have the power to go out there and fix the infrastructure. I don't know how to build buildings. The government there and the politics, exactly what it is. It's all politics. So I don't have the capability or the power to do that. But if we could start with the children who have been traumatized because they're all living in containers. Buildings collapsed and then they had containers. And they were living in these like aluminum, like 9x9 containers.
This is so sad.
That they were actually happy to live in because they're like, you know what? Nothing is on top of us. They were so afraid of another earthquake and the children were traumatized. So we're like, if we can rebuild their education and like have them grow. And every year our goal is to add 10 more families. So that's where we're at. And the money just gives them school supplies, computers, and really just follows their trauma.
Wow, that must have been a lot for them, right? Obviously.
It was a lot, but you know, it was so moving to go there and see it, to see all the rubble and the destruction, and to see their spirits still grateful.
Yeah.
Grateful to be alive.
I mean, those poor, anybody that passed away, like that must have been.
You know, it took days for people to get for the military to get
too.
There. Oh, yeah. Animals all over. We saw so many strays. I found a doggy. In front of our hotel. It was like laying there, and it's just like nobody gives the stray dogs and cats their love. I mean, Turkey has so many strays.
Really?
They even did a thing now where the strays, if you see, they have like a metal thing on their like neck, it means that they've been spaded.
Okay.
And the community's been trying to spade them because there's so many strays that they keep procreating.
Yeah.
And then, then it becomes like
too much, too many.
Like a problem.
Yeah. They do that here with cats. It's called TNR.
Oh, they do?
Yep.
Oh, look at
that.
So
like they'll cut like a piece of the tip of their ear off, so you know that they got spaded or neutered.
I feel like you don't see strays that much. I mean, every now and again I'll see a stray cat, but I just think it's my neighbors.
Really? No, I see stray cats all the time. I love animals. That's why I'm like, how are they with the animals?
No, I love animals too, but like in Turkish culture, you're raised that animals live on the outside, not in the house. But now it's changing. And I have a dog.
You do have a dog, right?
A little biscuit, yeah.
Yeah, that's right. What kind of dog is that?
It's a Cavapoo.
Oh my God. So how old is your dog?
And a poodle. She's past 2 now. She's 3.
I just got a dog after my other baby passed away. Now my Vivian is a year. I'm like, sure, you're such a little angel. She's my kid for now. I'm like, you're my little kid.
So for me, it's a little hard because I have a spouse that was born and raised in Turkey. Bill didn't come to this country till he was 16.
Oh, wow.
So for him, animals belong on the outside. And he loves animals. He does. But he's also a plastic surgeon, and he's seen so many dog bites, cat bites that lead to infection, serious wounds, that he's like, they're great. Animals are great, but they are animals. And if they bite, it's their instinct to bite. He's always like, patients come to the ER and they're always like, my dog would never, this is so out of character. And they're animals.
Yeah, something must have happened for them to,
Sometimes they go into survival mode and they don't even mean to hurt somebody or bite somebody. They're just, my dog, if you try to take something out of her mouth,
she'll territorial. Bite you. She's like, oh,
she'll bite you.
She's a claimer.
And I tell people, don't try to take anything out of her mouth. Try to trade it with something. Give her a treat, get her distracted, and then otherwise that she'll bite.
Let's get into a couple more things before we end this.
Sure, I know. I feel like I love talking to you.
I know, same. So your podcast, let's talk about that really quick.
Okay.
What do you want to talk about on there? Like, what's going to be your goal? Like, what's going to be?
Well, the name of the podcast.
What is it going to be about?
It's basically going to be like a picture like a modern day Oprah meets Ellen, Jennifer style.
Okay.
I'm going to make my studio. I'm going to make my studio kind of like I said, I was always going to the clubs, and I never drank going to these clubs. So don't think I was like drunk on my ass. I never drank. I was always the water girl, or a drink that I would just hold on to and baby all night, just like baby it. So I loved going to the clubs. It's going to have like a retro feel. It's called TV Gold because I feel that's what I am.
That's awesome.
TV Gold. Listen, I just feel like I'm a great storyteller. I have a way to articulate things in a way that makes people understand the process.
Yeah.
I want to talk about things that are relevant in pop culture, relevant in headlines, the news. Like if I was filming my podcast this week, I would talk about Taylor Swift and how she got back all of her masters to her music.
Did she?
Yeah, she did. That's big girl. She got the masters to all.
I didn't even know
She
that.
made history.
Did she?
So I don't know if you've ever heard like Taylor's version.
No.
So she has albums. So her first, it's like a long story, but
her manager stole them, right, or something?
He sold them to somebody else without selling it to her. And she was vocal that she wanted to buy it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't sold to her. So she decided to re-record her albums with, in parentheses, calling it Taylor's version. So if you bought the album that had Taylor's version in it, you knew you were buying the one that she owned. And fellow Swifties out there know this. So they would only stream and purchase music that had Taylor's version in it.
Okay.
And the last one that she was going to redo was Reputation, which was the last album that she didn't own before she started making her own music. And everybody was waiting for the re-release. Instead of the re-release, she announced that she was able to buy it from the people who her manager sold it to.
Oh.
And they sold it back to her. They sold it to her.
Wow.
And she now...
But after years, like...
Well, it's been a few years. It was right before. Yeah, they sold it to her because I guess, listen, she's got a lot of power in the music industry. Mm-hmm. She's a force. I mean, look, I went to 3 of her shows.
Did you love it?
I'm not even going to say out loud how much I've spent on her concerts because it's obnoxious. But I didn't become a Swiftie until I went to her Eras tour at MetLife Stadium. I went to that.
I was going to go, but I didn't go.
So this is how it went. My girls wanted to see her at MetLife for Christmas. Go to StubHub. They're a fortune. You can either buy 2 or 4. You can't buy 5 or 3. Or if you do, they're extremely expensive. Mm-hmm. And singles are easy to buy. So I bought 4 tickets. And then I was going to do my daughter, my 2 daughters, my niece. Mm-hmm. I have a goddaughter. My sister is a widow, so her and her daughter are with us everything we do. Mm-hmm. And I was just going to take my goddaughter. And then my sister told me that she wanted to go. So I was like, you know what? For Christmas, I'll give them the 4 tickets. I gave them 4 tickets. I didn't have a care in the world. I've always liked her music, but I wasn't a Swiftie. I didn't know anything about her except like what I heard on the radio. And then my daughters came to me and they were like, Mom, we're glad that our aunt is coming, but I want you to come. Like my one daughter was like, I want you to come. And I felt guilty. So I bought a single. I went. I had the concert with them. And when I'm thinking I'm just going to sit down the whole time, I was on my feet the whole time. Every time I thought I was going to sit down, I was up again.
Wow.
Lip singing. And then feeling the energy, feeling the way that she sings at least 44 songs at each concert. It's 3 hours straight. She has got 100,000 people stomping their feet. And I'm like, I loved it. I became a Swiftie. I went into the rabbit hole after going to her Eras tour.
Did you do the bracelet thing?
The second time?
Yeah.
Not only I went to London to see her show.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did. Wait, it gets better.
You're a true fan.
I went to Vancouver to see her very last show, night 3.
You did?
Yes, I did.
That was recent, right?
Yes, it was in December.
Yep.
And my outfit, I wore the All Too Well 10-minute version. That's my favorite song of hers. If anyone wants to know, it's a 10-minute song. I'm going to send it to you.
I don't even know. Do I?
Send you the short film on YouTube, and I want you to watch it at night when you're alone and really listen to the words. And then you're going to call me.
I'm going to be like, now I get it.
So I wore the robe and I went to her last show. So for her to gain all the masters. So I'm going to talk about what's in the headlines. Things, health, wellness, beauty. I'm going to interview, like my husband's going to be somebody I'm going to be interviewing.
Awesome.
It's always also going to be insight to me. You know, people see me on the show. They see me one way. It's only one-sided.
So you'll be able to show them the real way.
There you go.
The non-edited way.
A non-edited, unfiltered version of me where it's just funny and lighthearted. And I'm going to be able to explain things in a way where people can understand that maybe they may not understand. A lot of health and wellness stuff.
Which is good to let people know about because a lot of people need that.
Even now, when something's like popping up on my social media, I call my manager. I'm like, I could be talking about this on my podcast right now.
Are you going to talk about anything like controversial? Like I would like.
I'm going to stay away from religion and politics unless it's talking about, like, I talk about my spirituality a lot, but that's just because it's me personally.
But that's different. That's about you.
I don't like to push it on anybody.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I wanted to ask you one more thing. Who's your favorite talk show host?
Oh, Oprah.
Is she?
Oprah. She's the Bible.
Because she's...
Well, when literally I was barefoot and pregnant for like all those years, and I was home and Bill was a resident and I had nothing to do but watch my kids watch Nickelodeon, I watched Oprah. And for me, like I would start my speeches where I would say, oh, this one time on Oprah, or this one time on Oprah, or this one time on Oprah. And I loved Oprah so much that when I lived in Michigan, so I lived in Michigan for 2 years because Bill did a fellowship. When you're a resident for general surgery, you have to do a fellowship and you have to move. So we moved there for 2 years. I got tickets to go to Chicago, and Chicago is a drive from Detroit.
From
so I got tickets for me and my mom. She came to visit me, and we drove down there, and it was like the worst snowstorm in history. It was like so bad.
Yeah, it snows over there.
But I was like, these are Oprah tickets. We can't say no to Oprah tickets. Plus, my mom was visiting at that time. Like, this was not going to happen again, so we had to make it happen. And it was so funny.
Did you get there?
We got there. It's a very long process to go to an Oprah show. You got to be there at 5 o'clock in the morning, and you don't get into the studio with Oprah until around 10.
Oh.
So there was like a big process.
So you are camping out.
Well, you go through an assembly line of like going one waiting area, you're waiting there, and then you go in another waiting area. So like I was so excited for our episode because I was like, you get a car, you get a car, you get a car. I was like, yay, what are we getting? I mean, the episode that it was on, they had this doctor on there. It was like a sex expert. And the topic was, do you live in a sexless marriage?
Oh, and, I used to be married in one of those. I could have went to that Oprah show with you, girl.
Our free gift was like the sex doctor's book that had all like different positions that I was like, what am I going to do with this? My mom took it. She's like, I'm going to give this to your brother. That's exactly what she did.
And you know what? Your brother probably used it. Who cares? Men, if you didn't.
I think he was, she was like trying to get him married because Middle Eastern culture is like, when are you going to get married?
When are you going to get married?
When are you going to get married? And when you get married, it's like, when are you going to have kids?
She's cute.
She's cute.
She's also cute.
She's also old school. So we went to Oprah. So like everything was Oprah for me. And Oprah was a big gay rights activist. Mm-hmm. And I remember, I think somebody just put a clip up the other day with Oprah, and somebody was saying, how can you be a devout Christian and still support the gays? And she was saying, like, very diplomatically, and it was like, this is why I love Oprah. She was like, you know, your belief in Christianity is different than mine.
Yeah, that's how you have to, that's it.
Yes. And I don't believe what you believe, with all due respect, pretty much.
Yeah.
And I was like, go Oprah.
If everybody could just like do that when it comes to
right. Listen,
the world would be a better place. That's how I feel.
Yeah, I don't want to infiltrate my stuff on yours. You don't need to infiltrate on me.
Everyone thinks differently, and that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. How are we going to live here together if we can't live here together?
And how are we going to live here together when we can't have our own, you know, the way we think, or if the way this person thinks, and we should always accept, like, okay, as long as they're not like killing, you know, crazy lunatics.
Don't break the law.
But
whatever. Like,
anything else you want to like plug in here and talk about really quick?
Well, my brother's jewelry store, once he moves to Naples, I don't even know the name of it, but once
you're online with that, right?
Online with that. And,
say the website.
JohnMichaelsJewelry.com. John Michaels Jewelry, no space, no underscore, jewelry.com. He's got a lot of great stuff on there. I promote his jewelry a lot.
Thank you so much for coming on Hello Podcast, and I'll be on yours. And I'll check out everything Jennifer Aydin has going on her Instagram and everything. Thanks, guys. Hey guys, thank you so much for listening to Hello with me, Angelinas. As always, be sure to subscribe and leave us a 5-star review, and head over to patreon.com/AngelinaMTV for extended uncensored episodes where you can win fun goodies like signed headshots, note cards from our recordings. Follow us on Instagram at Hello Podcast for extra tea, and there's a lot of tea on there. Just letting you know, you guys are going to want to hear it. So follow me there. See you next time.